Picture this. It is 6:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. You just walked through the door after a soul-crushing commute from your 9-to-5 job. You drop your keys, microwave some leftovers, and instead of sitting on the couch to decompress, you open your laptop or grab your car keys. You are about to clock in for your second shift. You are grinding. You are putting in that extra 20 hours a week driving rideshare, doing freelance data entry, or trying to drop ship cheap products from overseas. You are exhausted. Your eyes are permanently bloodshot, but you are hustling because that is what the internet told you to do, right? But then the end of the month rolls around. You check your bank account, expecting to see this massive cushion of wealth you've been promised, and the needle has barely moved. You are burning out, your relationships are suffering, and somehow you still feel completely broke. My name is Nash, and I spend way too much time thinking about the hidden math and psychological traps designed to keep the working class exactly where they are. If you're someone who is exhausted from grinding 60 hours a week just to barely scrape by and wants to actually understand why the system feels rigged against you, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Here's the thing about the modern side hustle culture. It is one of the most brilliant, insidious traps ever laid out for the American middle class. We have been sold this romanticized lie that the only thing standing between you and financial freedom is your willingness to sacrifice your evenings and weekends. We wear sleep deprivation like a badge of honor, but trading more of your increasingly low-value time for a few extra highly taxed dollars is a mathematical dead end. It is a treadmill that speeds up the faster you run, ensuring you never actually reach the destination. Let us look at the brutal math, because numbers do not care about your work ethic. Let's say you make $60,000 a year at your day job. You realize inflation is eating you alive, so you start a side hustle. You commit 20 hours a week and you are making $20 an hour. That's an extra $400 a week, or roughly $1,600 a month. On paper, that sounds life-changing, but here's what most people don't realize. That $1,600 is an absolute illusion. First, the IRS enters the chat. Because you're an independent contractor or running a sole proprietorship, you are getting hit with the self-employment tax. You are paying both the employer and employee portions of Social Security and Medicare, plus your standard income tax bracket. Right off the top, you can kiss about 30 to 40% of that money goodbye. Your $1,600 just became $1,000. Now look at the hidden expenses of the grind. If you were driving for a living, factor in gas, increased insurance premiums, and the invisible wealth killer, vehicle depreciation. Every mile you drive is slowly destroying a rapidly depreciating asset. But let's say you work from home doing freelance tasks. What about the convenience tax? Because you are working an extra 20 hours a week, you have zero time or energy to meal prep, so you order delivery twice a week. That's an extra $150 gone. You are dead tired every morning, so you hit the drive-thru coffee shop instead of brewing it at home, another $60 a month. You are paying a premium for convenience simply because you have robbed yourself of your own time. When you subtract the taxes, the depreciation, and the lifestyle inflation required just to survive your own exhaustion, your glorious $1,600 side hustle is netting you maybe $500 in actual usable wealth. You just traded 80 hours of the only life you get this month for $500. That's just over $6 an hour in real purchasing power. Now you might be thinking, Nash, $500 is still $500. That pays my car loan, that pays my utility bills. I need that money. And you are absolutely right. The financial pain is real and the need for cash is real. But this is where it gets interesting and where the psychology of keeping you poor really takes hold. You are falling into the linearity trap. You are treating your time and your income like a vending machine. You put 1 hour of manual labor in and you get a predetermined fixed amount of cash out. The problem with a vending machine is that it never compounds. It never gets easier. Hour number 1,000 pays exactly the same as hour number 1. The wealthy do not operate vending machines. They build systems, they acquire equity, and they focus entirely on leverage. There is a cognitive bias called action bias. It's the psychological phenomenon where we feel better taking action, any action, rather than doing nothing, even if that action is entirely counterproductive. When we feel financial panic, our brain screams at us to do something. So we instinctively default to the lowest barrier entry work we can find. We pick up groceries, we assemble furniture for strangers, we fill out surveys online. It temporarily soothes our financial anxiety because we feel productive, but it's a placebo. The true tragedy of the 20-hour side hustle is the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is simply the value of what you lose when you choose one option over another. If you spend your 20 hours of free time every week doing low-tier linear labor, you have zero mental bandwidth left to do the one thing that actually breaks the cycle of poverty: acquiring high-leverage skills. You are so busy furiously chopping wood with a dull butter knife that you absolutely refuse to stop, sit down, and spend an hour sharpening a real axe. Consider this. According to recent financial surveys, nearly 2 in 4 US adults have a side hustle, and the average monthly income from it is just around $800 before taxes and hidden expenses are even factored in. We have a massive portion of the population working themselves to the bone for pennies on the dollar, trapped in a cycle of exhaustion. An exhausted worker is a compliant worker. When you are grinding 70 hours a week between two jobs, you don't have the energy to negotiate your salary, you don't have the time to look for a better primary career, and you certainly don't have the mental clarity to learn how to invest. The system loves your side hustle. It keeps your head down. Imagine you are standing in a boat with a hole in the bottom. Water is pouring in. Your day job is a bucket. You are bailing water out, but you are slowly sinking. The traditional side hustle advice tells you to go buy a second, slightly smaller bucket and bail faster. So now you're frantically double-fisting buckets, sweating, exhausting yourself, just trying to keep the water level steady. You're still going to sink, you're just going to be much more tired when you drown. What you actually need to do is stop bailing for a minute, figure out how to patch the hole or build a better boat. You must decouple your time from your money. You have to escape the time for money trap, and the only way out is through leverage. So, how do we actually do this? How do we fix the math? If you are currently trapped in the mindless grind, I want you to make a radical shift. Take those 20 hours a week you are currently spending on a low-yield side hustle, cut it completely. Yes, it will be terrifying at first, but here's the reallocation strategy. Take 10 of those hours and do absolutely nothing. Rest, sleep, walk outside without a podcast playing, let your nervous system regulate. Because you cannot make high-level strategic decisions about your life when your brain is bathed in cortisol from chronic stress. Take the remaining 10 hours and treat it like an aggressive, focused educational sprint. Spend those 10 hours a week learning a skill that forces a multiplier onto your income. Learn data analytics, learn high-ticket B2B sales, learn basic coding, copywriting, or how to utilize artificial intelligence to automate corporate workflows. These are high-leverage skills. Let's do the math on the alternative. Let's say you spend 10 hours a week for 6 months, roughly 250 hours, learning to analyze data or manage complex projects. You use that new skill to pivot into a new role or negotiate a massive promotion at your primary career. If that skill gets you a $20,000 bump in your base salary, that's $20,000 of extra income that requires 0 extra hours of your week. It's built into your new baseline. You just increased your hourly worth instead of just working more hours. The return on investment for those 250 hours of learning absolutely crushes driving for a rideshare app for the next decade. Grinding is not a strategy. It's a symptom of a broken financial plan. Stop glorifying the hustle that is slowly draining your life force and keeping you trapped in the middle class. Stop letting the anxiety of the present rob you of the leverage you need for the future. You are worth more than $20 an hour, but you will never prove it to the world until you stop selling your time at a massive discount. Take a step back, drop the second bucket, sharpen the axe. I'll see you in the next one.